What's up everybody, Jonathan here with Boston Collectors, and in today's video, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Sideshow likes to go with a smaller shoebox design for their figures, and their release of Anakin from the Clone Wars series is no different. While I'm not sure what the buildings are representing in the back, I'd imagine it's indicative of a location in the Star Wars universe. We're also met with the Star Wars logo over the cityscape and an image of Anakin from the Clone Wars series. I'm not sure why the image is so small, so here's a tighter shot in case you couldn't see it. If you like posing your figures with the box art, Sideshow added their prototype photo on the back of the box as well. As we begin to unbox the figure, the Star Wars logo can be found at the bottom of the box. Another detail that I like is Sideshow incorporating the legal information inside of the box at the bottom. Sideshow also likes to add cigar wraps around the figure packaging. It's kind of annoying to me personally, but it's their thing, I suppose. Regardless, ours came in off-center and it came with an exclusive tape tab on the back of the band. Straight out of the box, we have a pair of fists equipped on the figure. They look pretty good, honestly. Even though the wrist pegs are a little loose, the geometric animation style looks nice. As for the other hands included with the figure, Sideshow added pegs to each individual selection. Note the geometric design on the knuckles and fingers. In my opinion, they did a phenomenal job on them. As for this pair of relaxed hands, Anakin can use them to hold the included holo projector. This piece feels very cheap and I'm not really a fan of the overall quality. Also, we can't swap out holograms and the paint job is, it's okay. Next, we have a pair of force gesturing hands. They're very similar to the relaxed hands, but you can differentiate between the two of them easily. Again, I love the way they came out and appear true to the show's blocky art style. Lastly, we have a pair of C-gripping hands for the lightsaber. They are somewhat loose around the hilt, but they get the job done. You have to futz with it a bit in order for it to hold properly. Speaking of the hilt, it's very cheaply made, but I'm kind of 50-50 on it. Because I like the detail work they tried to bring out of the hilt, but the quality of it isn't that great. We also have an ignited saber included as well. The ignited effect cannot be taken out, nor is a dynamic lightsaber effect included in the box either. It looks okay. As for holstering the hilt, it is possible, although it might not appear that way at first. Moving on, we have this lifeless robe on the figure right out of the box. While the quality of it is somewhat decent, it's kinda stiff, yet not at the same time. It's very difficult to pose the robe on this figure since we don't have wiring in it anywhere. Not only that, the wrinkles hold up the robe in a very odd way as well. So I decided to iron out the robe to see if it helped, and visually, it made a huge difference. All the wrinkles in the robe that made it look weird were gone. At this point, it's futzing with it enough for it to look somewhat natural. The hood is still ugly though, with the seam line down the middle, personally. I also opted to use magnets in order for the hood to look better while over his head. In the back, there are magnets in the tip of the hood to hold it down. And we have the obvious magnets in the front. Doesn't look that great, but, you know. You definitely want to iron out the robe though. I laid a towel over it before I ironed it and I used steam. Also lint rolled it out a little bit, so hopefully that helps. Last but certainly not least, we have a base and a crotch cradler. So the base of the portrait isn't that bad. The problem here is the paint application. The paint on the neck is also slightly darker than what we see applied to the face as well. Speaking of, the neck on my figure is somewhat off. One side's fine, but there's a noticeable gap on the other side. Getting back to the problem though. In low light scenarios, you can't really see what the problem is, and that can be good or bad depending on your preference. Good because you don't see the depth that's missing with proper paint applications, and maybe you light your figures in your display differently from the rest of us. Bad? Well, because you see what they were trying to do but executed poorly. Hang tight and you'll see more in a bit. As for the hair, again, it looks decent to me. Especially the hair on the back. This is another scenario where paint application could have worked wonders. However, there are moments where the hair appears manufactured because of where it's cut though, especially on the left side of Anakin's hair. Now lighting. Anakin looks amazing in low light, and it really does look like the character right out of the show. However, when we turn on the light for a better look, you can see the paint application in the eyes a bit more. They added this weird gray effect for depth, and it doesn't translate well. What do you think? The clothing on the figure is interesting. It's not what we saw from the prototype obviously, but it's got its ups and downs. Starting with the tabards, it's made of pleather and we only have wiring along the outside portion. As for the belt, it's velcroed onto the tabards with the middle portion made of pleather. It looks okay visually, but the food capsules in the belt buckle look a little cheap to me. Without focusing on the details, overall it looks decent. The worst feature would have to go to the unsightly stitching on the belt. As mentioned earlier, it's velcroed onto the front and back of the tabards and come off as one piece. As for the shirt, it's held together by several clasps that you wouldn't know exist. I don't like this system because I'm unable to adjust it how I want, but I like that the clasps are hidden well. As for the shirt and pant fabric, it's a no. No. The boots, however, are probably the best feature on the figure, hands down. I love the animated appearance and the overall paint application. So this video will not have a cinematic outro for the simple fact that this base is not only hideous, but the figure needs to stand on it in order for it to stand up. Unlike my Hot Toys Anakin Skywalker here, who can stand on his own, this figure simply can't. I've got an issue with the figure where the leg sort of flops, as you can see there. It's not really good. The ankle joint is also very, very jittery and kind of sloppy. This figure does not meet the $250 price point by any means. Don't get me wrong though, if you paid attention to a lot of our footage previous to this, the portrait, the figure looks phenomenal in low light situations, but $250 for this? No. I would say if you could get this figure sub 200, then yes, it would be worth it. But for $250 minus shipping, minus taxes, or whatever else you have to deal with, this, no. In fact, for the robe to look good, it's just, you have to do a little bit of work and planning beforehand. So this, do not waste your money on this. This is going back to Sideshow. The scuffs on the portrait, again, as we pointed out earlier, just the body and this base is absolute. The base is bad, all right? Save your money and put it elsewhere. With that said, let us know what you all think about the footage and the figure down below. Do you feel like that there are some saving graces with this piece? Do you feel like this is worth it to put into your collection? I'm interested to know these things. So share those down below if you like the content so far. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Jonathan with Boston Collectors, and this guy is getting returned.